Hi there. There's a famous saying in chess, a passed pawn is a criminal which should be kept under lock and key. Mild measures such as police surveillance are not sufficient. This is the Nimzowitsch line in the open variation of the Spanish from his famous win with the black pieces against Prispiorka in 1906. We'll see this passed pawn theme with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, the Spanish bishop b5, a6 and the bishop back to a4, knight f6 castles, and black goes for the open variation with knight takes on e4. White typically opens the center with d4. Black could play the safe, reliable, conservative b5 move here, as opposed to this move, e takes on d4, which is the Riga variation, because after rook e1, d5, and knight takes on d4, targeting the pinned knight on c6, but ignored by black as black plays bishop d6 with offensive tries against the pawn there on h2. After knight takes on c6, bishop takes on h2, this sacrificial line, and in this famous game, Prispiorka against Nimzowitsch, the king moved to f1. Now queen h4 immediately threatens mate on the move on f2, where analysis shows that white's most resilient defense or offensive line here is knight back to d4 check, and then bishop to e3 to defend f2. If instead this line, rook takes on e4, black is going to be winning in all variations. First, d takes on e4. Queen d8 was tried in this famous game. This is an idea which is okay for white if the white king happens to be on h1, in which case the bishop on h2 is going to be left hanging. Queen d8 now means black's going to win. After queen takes d8, knight takes d8, and king takes d8. White can try g3, try and trap in that bishop on h2. Well, bishop h3 first will ensure the king has to go out to e2. Bishop g4, Nimzowitsch trying to see if the king wants to go back to f1. But the king up to e3. And now a move like h5 and f5 are going to be good for black. Maybe trying to open up the h-file, which will support that trapped bishop on h2. Nimzowitsch tried f5 first. Knight d2 was met now by h5. Knight to f1. It seems as if white might have something because that bishop seems trapped, but h4 allows for that bishop to be taken. Knight takes h2. Since h takes on g3 with a rook coming into the game now, hitting the knight. So the knight up to g4, taking the bishop there on g4, but that's totally ignored, that piece, as the pawn progresses to g2, threatening to queen. So that has to be stopped. Now king e2, that's an interesting try. The idea behind it is to open up this diagonal for the bishop on c1, because now if the pawn to g1 queening, and my computer seems to have just gone to sleep, no, it's woken up, queening, then bishop to g5 check is going to pick up that queen. So black's not going to queen promote too quickly. Rook h1 is preferred. The idea being now, if bishop g5 and the king moves over to c8, the pawn ready to queen. Knight comes back to e3, hitting that pawn. And now rook takes on a1, allows the pawn to be captured with knight takes on g2. But rook g1, the cherry on the cake, means that black's going to be picking up one of those minor pieces on g2 or g5 with a 1 position. So this has been the Nimzowitsch line in the Spanish Riga. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.